It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 99 today. Getting pretty close to the centennial mark. My name is Mike. So that's Brian.
Hey. Today we have Jim Prichard, CEO. I said Prichard with a T. That's not true. It's Jim Prichard, CEO and president of Clean Living Construction Cleaning. Hi, Jim. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me today, guys. Love the show and excited to be on it.
We're excited to have you, man. Super cool. I see like a whole looks like a calendar behind you, or at least the week in a perspective of some kind, I'm sure, for the office and all that. And kind of speaking to the office, if you could give us an introduction of who you are, how you got started in the industry and with your company, and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, great. This behind me is what we call the big board, and it's a very fluid sort of day-to-day chronicles of our days and where the crew goes. And it's evolved over the years, but it all started basically a way to piss off my parents, basically.
By not going to college or what?
Not going to college, not joining the military. I lived up in Santa Rosa, had a buddy who he kind of taught me this trade. It wasn't really a trade at the time. And Pat Burned, he's now a fumigation expert, but he taught me this up in Santa Rosa. And after high school and a little traveling around, I decided that I could start my own business. And I knew everything already. I didn't need college. I didn't need,
Didn't we all back then?
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, I knew everything. So, and amazing how little I actually knew. But so I started this up in Sonoma County, and just kind of started on my own and started introducing myself to contractors and telling them I could clean up the job when they were done. There wasn't very many people that were doing specifically construction cleaning. So I kind of decided that was going to be my niche. And I knew a lot of contractors, had some family friends, so it was kind of a relatively easy start. And, just kind of went for it. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she lived in southern Marin, which was a pretty affluent area with a lot of developing going on. And I realized that there were bigger houses and more money down there. So I kind of focused on the high end market and going into big spec homes and big custom homes and doing the same thing. And eventually contractors actually believed I could do it. And started getting busy. So she quit her job and started working with me. And we went for about 10 years, just the two of us doing this and having a really good time. And it wasn't until we decided to have kids that we realized we better hire employees and having a 9-month pregnant lady on the job is not really
Well, I guess that kind of answers my questions. I was going to say, did you actually have her out on the job site with you, or was it like she's running the office and you're out there cleaning?
No, we were
tag teaming it out there,
jobs all the time.
That's awesome.
And I cleaned windows, she cleaned the house, and it worked really great. And we kind of developed our early processes that way, just by doing it. And
I love my wife, and she's in insurance as well, but there's no way on God's green earth I could probably work with her. So God bless you.
Yeah, well, it worked it was really fun. We had a really good time with it. And miss having her out in the field. She's still involved with the business, but miss having her out in the field. But it wasn't until a superintendent on the job said, "Are you really making your wife work still?" that I was like, okay, maybe we better hire some employees. So we hired employees, and I just kind of found my niche in this high-end residential construction cleaning. And slowly grew. And it wasn't until about, 10 or 15 years ago where I started thinking, what's going to happen to the business when I want to retire or I want to move on? And where I decided that we needed to start planning some growth and making some projections. And we started getting so busy that we needed sort of an operations manager and a crew manager. And I luckily found an amazing guy who is our operations manager now, who is just, really changed the culture of the company. And shortly after that, I brought on a good friend of mine who was looking for a career change to do sort of business development and marketing. And we went in 2015 to just under $1 million a year in sales to 2 years later, just over $2 million a year. Cool. And just with those two components, more employees, but some pretty rapid growth, and we're, continuing to grow. We're up to about 30 employees now. Wow. And our niche is just the kind of ultra high end. Most of the projects we're on are $10 million remodels or, $20, $30, $40 million houses, anywhere up to, we've done a couple up in the sort of $500 million builds, develop and build projects.
Maybe you did my second home up there. It was about 450 million. Yeah.
You're Mark Zuckerberg, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of tech. Yeah. A lot of venture capitalists that are building second, third, fourth homes. And it's a really fun place to be.
So you mentioned that what you did back when you started your business wasn't really something that, that was done before or, done specifically by a single company. And it's really not even still, I would imagine. I mean, unless you're in that space that you're in. So I guess my question, are you finding yourself, you getting hired more often by the general contractor to keep the area clean, or is it more by the developer who wants to make sure that everything's done obviously in a clean way?
We work mostly for the GCs.
Okay.
That's our core clientele. And occasionally interior designers or architects, but mostly it's the GCs that have it in their contract to provide the final clean service. And we have really good relationships with contractors. I'm better at dealing with contractors than I am homeowners. That's where I prefer to be. A lot of emotions go into building a house, and that's where we can really help the contractor move from a job site to a home. And we have spent a lot of time building these relationships. So there's a lot of confidence where they can call us. They don't have to worry about schedule. They don't have to worry about, quality and service. They know it's going to get done. And, generally after we've done 3 jobs for you, you're never calling anyone else.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
It's really good. And we now have started to build a couple different divisions where we have a maintenance division where we're helping to maintain select clients' homes after they're done being built. So window cleaning, power washing. What we say is we like to complement the house staff. So we don't do maid service type stuff, but we're doing more like hard to get to areas and big projects. And then most exciting, for our contractors, we've started a site protection division where we're 3 months in before completion, 6 months before completion, we're going in and helping them protect surfaces from damage. So we're cleaning them and inspecting them for any damage that might need to get repaired, and then protecting them so that no more damage happens.
Is that like damage in between the trades coming in and doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dented cabinets, broken cabinets, chipped surfaces, that kind of stuff. So,
I have to imagine that makes your job a little bit easier getting into that site, like you said, 3 to 6 months beforehand kind of get a jump start on that? I'm assuming you guys are probably also doing some cleaning and picking up and all those kind of things along the way, making that final job a little easier.
Exactly. And it's one of our main services is glass protection. So that we're actually doing as soon as the glass is installed, we're going in and cleaning it and inspecting it. And we discover factory blemishes, factory defects and stuff that the contractor can then address it while the window company's still on site, as opposed to at final clean. I got sick of going into job site trailers and telling the contractor, hey, we're cleaning the window, but we're finding scratches on them, So we wanted to get in there earlier, and it also, it provides a service to them that their windows are protected now throughout the life of the job. And they get to, deal with the window company on replacing stuff. But it also allowed us, more specifically, my marketing person who's a partner in the company now, to start targeting jobs earlier. So, instead of waiting for the final clean to go knock on their door, he can get in, when it's being framed and say, hey, look, we need to protect your windows. So it gets us in the door earlier and locks us in for final clean. So, it was a way to increase our revenues on jobs and our impact on jobs earlier than just final clean.
So I definitely want to talk about marketing, but I think the first thing I want to touch on, kind of through your story, you said you brought somebody in that really changed the culture of the company. That kind of impacted me a little bit. So if you could maybe unpack that a little bit, what was it like beforehand, and what were some of those things that person that you hired do? What did they do to kind of turn things around, and what is it like now? Yeah.
So we brought, I found Guillermo through a Craigslist ad, which he's maybe my only Craigslist success story.
I was going to say, you talk about it like impacting your business like that, and then you say, I found him on Craigslist. That just
exactly
mind boggling. But I mean, they are out there.
Look at the draw, right? Lottery right there. All right.
He was in a position in his life where he had been not working for personal reasons and was ready to get back to work. And he responded to my Craigslist ad, and he took probably way less money than he was worth at the time, but that wasn't what he was looking for. He was looking for a fresh start with a new company and a new trade. And so I brought him on, and immediately there was a shift in attitude in the company. He brought a really positive attitude and a really service-oriented attitude with him. And we clicked immediately. We both are from the same cloth, take care of the customers, be positive and happy about what you're doing, and provide a quality service that you can be proud of. And
when you hired him, was that done deliberately to kind of create that atmosphere, or was that a side effect from just hiring a quality guy that you knew could do the work, and then it turned out that this is the way he was?
It was really just dumb luck. It was, I had no intentions other than to fill a space.
Right.
And didn't know how much I needed that shift in culture until he came on.
Until he had it.
Yeah. And he just had it, and he still has it. And he really is the one that sets the tone for the culture of the company. We have a mostly Latino workforce, and there's a lot of underlying sort of cultural differences in the way we work and the way we communicate. And although I do speak some Spanish, it's not culturally, you can't really translate different aspects of culture. Right. You can communicate, but you don't always get the right message across for them to understand beyond what you're saying in words. And he just has it. He brings this positivity and this drive to perform at a higher expectation every day.
It's kind of bridging that gap for you between you as management and the rest of the labor force there.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Awesome.
So he is here today. He kind of oversees all aspects of our operations, and he's really he's like a witch. He can read someone the minute they walk in the door, if they're going to work out or not. And we give most everybody an opportunity, and within a week or so, we've got it dialed, whether they're going to be a long-term, short-term, or if they're just not going to work at all.
So is he 100% responsible for the hiring? Is it a collaborative effort there? It sounds like he's got kind of the thumb on the pulse there.
He's got the final say. I participate in all the hiring, and we have another young lady in the office who's works a lot with the hiring as well. So it's sort of a collaborative effort. But he is really the final decision. Yeah. And I'll yield to him on most decisions when it comes to hiring, because he's so in touch with the culture of the company. And the way we work is we work in 4 or 5 person teams. And if there's a disruption of the force in one of those teams, it can really steamroll into bigger issues. Yeah. So we're really selective about who we hire and who we bring on, and we want them to be on board with the culture. So he's just an integral part of it. So
when you say like on board with the culture, is that kind of the number one thing you're looking for? I would imagine. And not to, I apologize if this may be insulting, but what you guys do is maybe not, as technical or as artistry as a lot of other, trades, right? So yeah. I would imagine you could probably teach a lot of people to do what you guys do and do it well. So I would imagine maybe you're looking more for more culture when you're hiring
That's
somebody.
The number one thing. Yeah. It's, we can teach you. In fact, we would prefer you come as a blank canvas. Yeah. And we'll teach you everything. And that does open up the hiring pool a little bit. But it really is the number one thing that we're looking for is attitude and the desire to be a part of something bigger, and the willingness to please the customer, and to just come with a smile. We want it to be a happy place to work. Our customers feel that. Our clients, I had one client tell me, he's like, this is such a stressful part of the job. And when you guys show up, everybody's smiling, everybody's accommodating, and I have no worries that the job's going to get done now. And that's what we want them to feel when we show up. Not like, oh, great, the cleaners are here and they're going to bitch about us not being done over here. And
Well, I have to imagine you guys a lot more, I guess if you want to call them owners or whoever owns the property, you're a lot more in their face than most other trades, just because I'm sure. I mean, I know when I built a house, check out a property. Yeah, I'm generally not there when the concrete's being poured or it's being framed or the electrical is going in, but towards the end, when it's getting close to finished, and when you guys are probably in there, I'm sure those owners or whoever's owns that property is probably on site a little bit more often.
Exactly, and that's where it kind of transitions into our service.
The customer service aspect, yeah.
They trust us already because we delivered their house to them, and they have seen the attitude of the crew and the care we take, and there's nobody that they'd rather have working there than us. Yeah. So it all kind of feeds other aspects of it. And, so culture it's the number one.
Where have you been most successful finding employees?
Mostly word of mouth. Yeah. We have a fairly long ongoing list of people that want to come work for us.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's a great problem.
Very good problem to have. And we are continuing to grow, but we've been very controlled about it because we don't want to lay people off. We'd like to keep people employed, and we'd like to make sure they're getting 40 hours a week. And our screening of culture is a big one. So if people knock on the door multiple times, we know they're interested. And,
right.
And when they come with a positive attitude of, I'm ready to work whenever you guys, have the need, it's all filtering to the character and desire to be with us. And we don't want to bring people on that we're going to go through the effort of training and then them not working out or deciding they want something different. So
right.
There's
being real deliberate through that process.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's, word of mouth is our biggest one. And we rarely put a Craigslist ad or anything like that. It ends up being a chore to go through. And, generally I make the first call on a Craigslist ad or to someone who's asking for a job. Guillermo makes the second call. And if the first question is how much do you guys pay? And if that's the first question, we know it's, because, it's not about, money's an important part of any job.
Right.
But
you don't want people there just for the paycheck. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
was, in terms of the culture hire, was that a byproduct also of Guillermo coming in, or was that something that you were always kind of triggered to prior to that? And then it just so happens now it's really kind of exploded now that he's there.
Well, I'm a very happy, positive guy and carry my stress level really low.
Even when your camera's when your camera's not working on your video before we get started.
He's like, I'm so stressed out. I mean, you don't sound stressed out.
Well, I've only had a few jobs in my life, but the one construction job I had, I was nicknamed Sunshine because I was always smiling. And I've always had that, and I've always tried to surround myself with people like that. It became harder for me as we were growing to translate that desire of culture to our crew.
Yeah, especially as you grow, right? I mean, when you got one or two people, you can it's easy to kind of keep your hands on them. Obviously not physically, but you know what I mean? Like keep your arms wrapped around and keep everybody tight. Yeah, but as things grow, you kind of not lose control in a bad way, but I mean, you can't keep your eyes on everybody. And you can't do what you did when you only had a couple people.
Yeah.
So it's really important, like to have somebody like that you trust, or that walks the same walk and talks the same talk as you to kind of help disseminate that.
Yeah, it is. It's so important, and it trickles down to the employee or the customers and clients all the time, and they again, a stressful part of their job, the transition, the turnover to the homeowner, and they're never ready for that. I mean, you guys know construction. Yeah. The house is never done on time.
Right.
And one thing that's made us really successful is our flexibility to get it done on their timeline, but with what's going on in the house.
Right.
There's certain things that are out of our control and we got to work around it. And we're there to help them transition this project into a home. And a lot of that is attitude and just bringing positivity and keeping their stress level down so they're not yelling and screaming at people. And, it's kind of a therapist type role,
I was in restaurant management for a long time, and that's the first thing they kind of not really teach you, but the first thing that they point out in good managers versus bad ones is when the customer starts screaming, you just kind of, not in a condescending way, but just like super calm, and you need to let them scream it out and get it out of you. And I'm sorry. Well, let's, say, because there's two different ways, right? You can be super condescending, or you can yell back at them, and neither one are going to be effective. So so I would obviously same kind of that high stress level and being that calming, happy, accommodating voice and figure.
And what it does bring challenges because we are one of the few trades out there that has little or no control over their schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
They have their move-in date, they have their delivery date, and there's nothing that the cleaner's not going to stop that. final inspection may stop that, or the floor finishers might stop that, but the cleaners are not going to stop that.
Right.
So I kind of tell them, you tell me when it needs to be done and I'll tell you how to schedule us, because it just is, we need to get it done regardless. And we're going to help them do that by being super flexible.
That's cool.
It makes it challenging, scheduling nightmare.
I'm sure. I'm sure that's why that board behind you is in dry erase.
That is why it's in dry erase. And that is why it has removable names that can flow over here and move around, because it's a constant fluid sort of effort to organize it all.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if we could pivot to marketing a little bit, I think you said you brought somebody in to do that specifically. Is there what kind of steps have you guys taken, and what kind of things are you guys doing to kind of be present and be out there and be visible?
So, in 2015, I brought on my partner, Mitch, who he and I were friends for a long time. He was in the insurance business like you guys.
Love that guy.
Yeah. And
Mitch is already my favorite.
Yeah. And he was looking for a change. He had to do a lot of travel for work, and he wanted to be home more. And I was looking for someone to help with business development, that kind of stuff. And we were just out climbing a mountain one day. And I said, I'm looking for someone. And he's like, I'm looking for a new job. And I'm like, okay, how about you come to work for us? And so he came on, and he started really enjoying the marketing aspect of it and the sales aspect, and finding new clients and building new relationships. And it freed me up to be more present with the crew and the clients on the site when we're working on them, and handling the logistics of scheduling. And so he started marketing. Marketing is not really even the right word. We call it prospecting. We do virtually no marketing outside of, no media. We actually want to be hard to find that way, because we want the clients that hire us, we want them to come to us and
value what you guys do.
Yeah, that they're your safe. Yeah.
And so we do very targeted prospecting with so how I used to call it making rounds. I would drive around and look for construction sites that interested me, and those are the ones I would knock on their door. And we do virtually the same thing now, where we go to the neighborhoods or areas where we won't work, and he knocks on doors. He walks on job sites and introduces ourselves, and explains what we can do for them, and how we can help them with window protection, with site protection, with final clean. And he's just a natural at it. And he's increased our footprint hugely, and has kept all 30 people busy for as long as he's been here.
That's awesome.
It was actually 12 when he got here, and in 2015. So, again, it's controlled growth, and he got one opportunity for us that the guy called me up and said, we're going to need 20 people on site every day for 2 months before the house is done to do the final clean. And he called me and he's like, can we handle it? I'm like, yep, we can handle it. He's like, do we have 20 employees? And I'm like, nope.
We will.
So it turned out it didn't need 20, but I
was going to say, you could probably almost call that guy back and say, we're good enough that it might not need all 20.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. It's not our first barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told him, you tell me what needs to be done. I'll tell you how many people.
Right.
But it's, he's just really, he understands the contractor's needs, and he's able to kind of customize our services to meet their needs and fill gaps. And it's just been, again, it was an opportunity that just sort of happened upon me and has worked out really well.
That's cool. So when he's going out and more or less knocking on doors or walking on job sites, if you're a painter and you're doing that, more or less that guy's probably already got a painter lined up and ready to go. So it's kind of a, hey, take a look at us next time kind of thing. Because of what you guys do, and I mean, I don't know that it's done on every job site. Is it more often that you're trying to sell what you guys do to get on that job specifically, or are you just trying to create a relationship? Or I guess my question is, how many other people are out there doing what you guys do, and how much other competition do you guys have?
There are very few companies that do construction cleaning only, and the way we do it at the level we do it, the quality and service we provide. There's plenty of janitorial companies that do a great job and that also do construction cleaning as part of their service. But I learned over the years that they're two totally separate animals. If you have a janitorial company and you're working nights, your crew is not going to be able to handle the construction hours, or you're going to need a separate crew. You're going to, the detail that you have to go into in construction cleaning is different than what your guys are trained for janitorial.
Right.
So it's just a different sort of animal, and the flexibility that you need to provide to be successful at this high-end construction cleaning is not very conducive to a regular maintenance schedule. So there's not that many people that do just construction cleaning. And to answer your other question, when he knocks on a door, we probably won't get that job, but he's creating awareness, and he's creating the starts of a relationship.
Yeah,
and
kind of building that network.
Yeah, and there are oftentimes things where he'll see a house going in that has a couple sets of really nice front glass doors and windows and so he'll grab onto that and say, hey, look, you may already have a cleaner, but you should get those windows protected. It's going to save you a ton of money to have those things protected, because you don't want to get damage on those and have to replace them.
Right.
Great. You do that for us. And he's like, of course. So we get in there that way. We're helping them out with this. And even if they already have the final clean contracted, they're going to call us on the next one, or at least let us bid off plans when they're planning the next one.
Yeah.
So it's just cultivating a relationship and bringing awareness to the brand and the name. And so it's, it's all a process.
When you were starting at the very, 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 very beginning, and you were looking at doing something like this, especially going down into Marin County and working on these high-end homes, and I might have missed this at the beginning, but were you aware that there wasn't a lot of competition, or was that something you kind of discovered along the way and were able to almost create like a mini industry within the industry?
Yeah, I wasn't at the start. I was not aware, but I quickly realized that there was a trade there that needed to be developed.
Right.
And there was a big gap to fill, because all the contractors I talked to gave me stories of the failures that they had experienced with cleaners, and I quickly realized that 90% of it was showing up, being there on time and performing the work. The quality, they could get around. If you provided, mediocre quality, but you were on time, reliable, that was the biggest part of the battle.
Which was probably part of that, going back to what you were talking about earlier in terms of being flexible and being able to shift and move depending on when that trade was out or whatever. I'm sure that had a lot to do with that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it just, again, if you're running a janitorial company and the schedule changes on the contractor's end, it may not fit in your schedule, so you don't show up. And communication, reliability, those two things, just if you do those well, you're 90% there.
Yeah.
The quality can always be improved. The nice thing about our trade is if you don't do a good job the first time, you can go back and fix it.
Yeah.
It's very easy to fix. And it's not like a painter who paints all the trim and does a crummy job. There it takes days, hours, weeks to fix. We can go in and make it right very easily.
Yeah.
So just showing up, being reliable, and communicating I found quickly was the key to success in that. And, the other part of it is contractors are very busy guys. They have a lot on their plate. And so it sometimes took, 10 times walking on the site before a contractor said, if I just give you the job, will you stop bugging me? Said, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Yep.
Yeah. So
you said something a minute ago that kind of triggered a question. You mentioned, bidding something based on plans. How much of what you guys do is bidded or estimated based on, the scope of work versus the people doing the work? Because and then maybe this is just my ignorance in the trade, but I would almost think maybe, and from kind of having kids, right? One kid might be cleaner than the other when they play or do things, but like, are there certain aspects of what you guys do from a bidding standpoint where, hey, we know that this guy works a little bit cleaner or than this guy, or those kind of things come into factor at all when you're bidding?
They definitely do. And a lot of times we don't get to make some of those adjustments until after we've worked for them the first time.
Right.
And so we do a lot of bidding off plans, and we mainly tell them it's to set a budget.
Right.
And then we fine tune the price as we get closer. But the important thing for us is that they allow enough in the budget.
Right.
It can be, we can charge you less, but that's kind of the other thing that we've really prided ourselves on is if we've given you a number, we're not going over that number. We're not going to come back and ask you for change orders and extras and things like that. It becomes too complicated for everybody and too much paperwork for generally in our industry, somewhat small amounts. So we want to really be all inclusive when we give you our price. That said, we're probably going to be more expensive than the other guys because we know what we're bidding and we've got history and we understand it. So if we're bidding off plans, we usually put in an inflation factor that it's a job that's 2 years out, and we want to make sure that there's enough money in it at the time, for final plane.
Mm-hmm. It kind of goes along that line of, kind of being wanting to be, hard to find, you know what I mean? You're kind of, like you said, setting that level of expectation and valuing yourselves and what you guys do.
Yeah, it really comes down to that. And if you don't have it in the budget on this one, I get it. We'll get you, we'll talk to you on the next one. But we know what it takes to provide the service that your client expects. And because you didn't leave enough in the budget, doesn't mean your client should suffer.
Right.
We want to provide you the service.
Well, especially since too, like you're one of those last ones out there to get paid, right? Like you want to definitely make sure that there's room and they have the money towards the end of that job.
Yeah. And, we've had very little problem getting paid. Some people are shocked at the price tag, but when it comes to payment, we've had great success. We've only had a few, horror stories over the 30 years I've been doing this. But now especially in our sort of price, in our market level, there's so much documentation that comes with every contract that, there's lawyers looking over all this.
Right.
Everybody's paid.
Yeah.
And if the contractors aren't paying, then they're not getting paid either. There's lien releases and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah. The insurance.
That's the real fun stuff.
Yeah. So, I think I told you, Brian, luckily I have a brother who's in the insurance industry and takes really good care of us. So, but,
so there's that trust factor there too, especially. Yeah. I mean, dealing in the market that you're dealing with, it helps to have, whether it's a Guillermo or a Mitch or your brother, you have that team of people there that you can rely on that can flex and move with you at the same time. So that way you can accommodate your ultra high end clientele that needs something on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It just is. The team is so important. It's, if you don't have a good team around you of support and resources, it's such a struggle. And I've been there, and it's scary sometimes if you don't have that team.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so surrounding yourself with good people and just bringing in good talent and people who care is just, it's
makes life easier for everyone. Yeah.
Well,
so
it's funny. I was going to say, I feel like, speaking kind of to that, it seems at first it kind of seemed like, oh, luck of the draw, you got a Guillermo, and then, oh, look, by the way, you got a Mitch, right? It sounds like your personality though, and the type of person that you are in terms of people. You have kind of this, there's almost this magnet, and people actually good quality people are attracted to that. Right. And so it almost makes it easier to kind of find those right fits. Obviously Guillermo was a little bit different, right? He was luck of the draw in terms of the Craigslist, but he did have to come in contact with you and meet you. And I'm sure when you meet somebody like that, you guys are of like mind, it makes those decisions a whole lot easier in terms of moving forward. So all to say, I'm just noticing themes kind of throughout that, that a lot of these people that are coming into work, that there's that culture fit, meaning it's beyond like what I get paid and what I'm going to get out of this. It's that all will come, but it's more or less part of like, hey, I want to be part of the collective. I want to be part of the whole. I want to do something kind of crazy and different that nobody's really doing well, at least in our industry, and which I think is shocking that it just takes some very low hanging fruit, like being reliable and calling people back and showing up when you said you're going to do it. And then not overcharging them. You charge them what you said you were going to charge. It's basically just being full of integrity. Yeah. So
that's really what it's all about. And do what you say you're going to do, and do it when you say you're going to do it. And if you can't do it, communicate. Yeah. Don't just not show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the type of thing we stress to our crew. If you can't come to work, let us know. Yeah. We can deal with that. We're all big kids here. We can deal with what's in front of us, but we can't deal with the unknown.
Yep.
But it is, like I said, I'm a positive, optimistic guy, and I want to come to work every day and enjoy work. And I love every day of it. It's a fun job to do. It's a fun industry to be in. We're getting to see houses and properties that nobody ever gets to see in their lifetime except for on TV shows and stuff. It's really cool. And you got to kind of respect that and be a part of it, Yep. So it doesn't come without its challenges, but what good does?
I was going to say nothing good doesn't. Yeah.
So
very cool. So what's the future look like for you guys? I know you talked about opening up different divisions a little bit. Are you looking to expand outside of just that high-end residential with maybe that maintenance division or some other things, or geographically, or?
Growth is definitely, more growth is inevitable. Geographically, our footprint is the entire Bay Area right now. And we are talking about expanding, possibly opening up branches elsewhere. Southern California might be one of them. It's a little bit unknown still, because I never went to college. I may not have the business knowledge of, franchising or branches or, just how to do that. And we're working on that. We're talking to people and seeing if that's a possibility. We are trying to create brand awareness and, just build the name as much as we can, build a reputation.
Yeah.
a lot of our contractors are not just local, they're Seattle, they're LA, they're, they have other divisions. So it could be a fairly easy transition. It's just finding those key people that can help you in those areas. And it's such a specialized industry that comes with such specialized care for the clients and everything. You can't just put a Craigslist ad out there.
Yep.
Well, I imagine part of that process of growing or expanding geographically or franchising or anything along those lines is the quality and the way you guys do work, right? Yeah. You got to be able to replicate that. I mean, there's only one Jim, right? I mean, there's only one Guillermo. Yeah. So like, being able to replicate that's probably probably a big challenge for you, I would assume.
Yeah, that is, because it's, nobody can smooth out the stress for a contractor like I can. Guillermo can't do it. Mitch can't do it. The crew can't do it. I can walk on site and within 5 minutes be like, hey, no, look, we're good here. We'll do this over here. We'll come back tomorrow for this and we're all good. And he's like, okay, great. Now I'm relaxed, but there is the, big picture. What I would love to do is to create a company that you can, a person in LA who is a small cleaning service who wants to grow and get into a construction cleaning market could come on with Clean Living, and we could take away all the pain points for them, the insurance, the contracts, the marketing part of it, and create a turnkey business that they could open up down there or transition to, and have a mothership managing over all the stuff that I hated doing when I was first starting and had to have Mitch do or my brother do or something like that. Take care of that for them and have it be a cost efficient way for them to expand into a new market for them and take the pride of ownership and partner up with us. So that's kind of my biggest picture thinking.
Very cool.
Can I get there? Who knows? Maybe the podcast will project.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now you're gonna be all over the place now.
Yeah. But so the forecast looks good. We're busy. COVID did not slow us down at all. We shut down. We didn't really even shut down. We slowed down drastically for a couple weeks. But we quickly realized that all of our job sites that were closed before they could open back up needed
to be cleaned anyway.
Cleaning. Yeah. So we did that. We put together for a safe opening. We put together disinfecting kits for our customers that had individual hand sanitizers, had disinfectant spray bottles, towels and that kind of stuff. So we gave those out to customers so that they could open up safely. So we kept the crew doing a lot of stuff and really kept them going straight through the COVID thing. So, we've got a really great team of people working for us that have really helped make the company a good place to work. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. It's really
very cool.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Well, cool, Jim. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today, and wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe let the people know, or those that are maybe just listening, not everybody, right? Since it's a unique clientele, but let those people that are listening know where to find you guys online, and maybe just to get in contact with you, ask you questions, or maybe to open a franchise.
Yeah. Our website is forcleanliving.com, FOR cleanliving.com. And office phone numbers 415-485-1575. And construction cleaning, site protection. We're the go-to company here in the Bay Area and would love to help. So
very cool.
Reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, man. Keep in touch.
Yeah, really appreciate being on the show, guys.
No problem.
It was a blessing. Thanks, man.
Good luck.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.